All right, Central at Montwood. Here comes Tyler Hills. We saw this play right before we stopped the halftime show. Tyler had a big 43-yard run in for a touchdown here. Got some wheels on him there.
That's Tyler Hill. You know.
All right, here we go. Galvan passing the ball to number 80, Brendan Salcedo, for a Montwood touchdown. They stay on their heels. Coming up, we have a minute left in the third quarter. They're trying up for a kick. They're going to snap the ball, but something awful is going to happen for Montwood. Here you go. He's going to pick it up. He's going to move off to the right side there. You get tackled. Special teams just completely kept Central in this game, I believe. There goes a big Tyler Hill run there. There's the fourth quarter.
Well, yeah. What do you know what this made this right
Tyler
here?
Hill touchdown.
I think that was 4-2. And then you have Tyler Hill doing his best Johnny Manziel impression.
Tough game right here for the Bobcats, but right there, boom, made a good play out of nothing. Touchdown for the Bobcats, Tyler Hill. That's what we like to see. And the Bobcats come up with the victory. Guys, this was a good one. We talked to Chadwick earlier. Now he's in the studio. Either way, boys, those Central Bobcats got it done. What are y'all thinking?
Chadwick, you want to take this one?
Yeah. First off, thanks for having me. I always love being here after the home games, you know what I mean? But what a game tonight. It was a back-and-forth track meet. So even though, from my perspective, the Bobcats pretty much controlled the entire first half, I came on at halftime like, yeah, the Bobcats get 2 stops.
Bro, you said
it's done.
This thing was over, you're like, hey, game over.
Right?
No, doesn't matter about the defense. Bobcats are whooping
Man.
butt. It was close, though.
Well, in the first half, the Bobcat defense not only came up with 1 stop, but 2 turnovers or 2 takeaways as well. Turned them both into touchdowns. They were leading 28-12, like right before the half, and then Montwood scores a quick one right before halftime. But yeah, Matt, I did not think that this was going to turn into, the all-out sprint that it was the rest of the game.
I mean, I saw the score from Midland and Montwood last week, I'm like, Central better dog these dudes. But at the end of the day, it looked like, it was just an offensive battle to the end. James, what'd you think?
I think special teams really helped them out. They had a couple blocks. They had a couple, and possibly the rain helped them out a little bit. With not being able to hold the ball on those, on the holds for the kick. They had some blocks. They had some great plays. I thought special teams really kept them in it.
Well, I know one thing, Chadwick, you were able to talk to head coach of the Bobcats. So let's go ahead and get to him. Here is head coach Kevin Crane.
Coach Crane here after a win tonight. High-scoring game, 52-49. Defense came through in the end. How are you feeling right now, Coach?
Well, I feel tired, actually, but I'm just excited. I'm certainly proud of our kids, and they just showed a lot of resilience. They kept playing, and we knew that they had a high-powered offense and a good quarterback, a good running back, good receivers. So we knew that, and our kids kept fighting till the very end, till 0 seconds left on the clock, and I was proud of them for that.
As high-powered as their offense was, let's not take anything away from how high-powered our offense was tonight. Over 300 yards on the ground tonight. Was that just the plan going into it because of the weather, or was that always the game plan going forward?
Yeah, a little bit of both, a little bit of both. I thought that our offensive line had a good game, and thought they improved from last week to this week. Obviously I'll have to look at the film to tell for sure, but I was also proud of our running backs, Javion Robinson, Tyree Browley, Aiden Barone. All 3 of those guys contributed. They all played well. I thought that they took a big step from last week to this week. Tyler obviously played a really good football game. So as an offensive unit overall, I felt like we played pretty good.
All right, Coach, last question here. One play in particular in the fourth quarter, I want to know what's going through your mind when that snap went over Tyler's head.
Yeah, my heart skipped a few beats and everything else. Obviously, Tyler stayed under control, did a good job scrambling, and then he had the awareness to look downfield, and he saw Jacob, and then just made a good pass. And Jacob made a good catch and did the rest. I was worried there might be a lineman downfield, but when I looked up, I didn't see anybody, and so it was all good after that.
All right, Coach. Well, congratulations on your first win.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All right, that was Chadwick. He's here now, but he was talking to Coach Crane. Oh, man. Chadwick, man, Coach Crane, he's always a good one with the words. He's never going to get too high, never going to get too low. But one thing I did notice was the first thing he said to you, and that was, he's tired. Why do you think that was?
Man, it had to have been just an emotional roller coaster. Like I said, no matter what the Bobcats did on offense, Montwood matched it, right? And so, yes, Montwood had a few miscues in the special teams, but they were unstoppable in the passing game, right? So, like, at the end of the day, the defense showed up, delivered in the last 30 seconds, did exactly what they needed to do. Defensive line really stepped it up in the last 3 drives. Even though Montwood scored, they were, 10-plus play, 11, 12, 13 play drives that took a lot of time off the clock and really let the Bobcats put it away.
And, last week when we were talking about Central, we're talking about it went down to the wire and they lose on like a very close play, but they were in it till the very end. We come to tonight, you're in it till the very end, and instead you make plays down the stretch and score and win. What do you think that does for, their psyche and their confidence, I guess?
It can do nothing but help, right? It's just a complete inverse of last week when Central was the one who was trailing at the half. They made the comeback, and it just not quite enough, right? But this week, they were the aggressor. They controlled the pace of the game. It's what I've been saying about the Bobcats the last 2 years. Their ground game is so strong. They just need to keep that on the ground, build off this momentum. And as flashy as the Bobcats like being through the air, they got to be able to set these plays up on the ground first. So morale-wise, they got to be riding high into this one. Last week was emotionally charged. This week was even more emotionally charged. So going into next week when they play Abilene Cooper, they're going to be riding high off of this one as well.
Speaking of Abilene Cooper, we checked out the score a while ago. James, what was the final score to their game? I know they played Abilene High tonight. What was their score to that one?
Abilene Eagles beat Abilene Cooper 14-10 tonight.
Okay, and remember, that's not a team in the Little Southwest Conference anymore, but it is someone who we know very well. It's the Abilene High Eagles. Last year, it was kind of a mismatch between the Bobcats and Abilene, and the Eagles, the Warbirds. But what is it going to be like this year? I mean, those two teams know each other, so it's going to be kind of that close matchup between two rival teams in the same city. But Chad, when we're talking about the Bobcats going to play a tough Abilene a tough Abilene Cooper team next week, it's someone they used to scrimmage, so they are aware of who they are and what they are. What are you kind of looking at going into next week?
Well, not only scrimmage, the Abilene Cooper Central Bobcats matchup goes back to back even when I was in high school. We played them 4 times all 4 years I was there, right? So it's a team that the Bobcats are familiar with. Cooper always comes strong with a real sturdy defense. They might throw the ball a little more now than they used to, but just from the score tonight, you can tell it was a defensive lockdown game, So The Bobcats need to be able to establish a ground game. Again, if they want to make it a defensive game, time of possession is everything, right? So if the Bobcats control the ball on the ground, control the clock, I think they have a good chance of coming out with the victory.
All right, moving on to our next few games here. But before we do, I just want to let y'all know this right here, that the All-American Chevrolet and the Autoplex is having a Labor Day sale. You can celebrate Labor Day with 0% APR for 72 months, plus no payments for 90 days. You're telling me I can get this right now, and until later on this year when it's coming to Christmas time, I don't have to make my first payment until then? That sounds like a great deal. And you can have that. Just go on down to the Autoplex. Bring in your cars. They got plenty on the lot. They got trucks and Jeeps and all kinds of stuff going on. Chryslers. You can have it all. Just go down there to All American Chevrolet and the Autoplex. They got everything that you need. Go see them. Also, this show is brought to you by Double Dave's Pizza. If you need any kind of pizza on Friday nights, just go down there to Double Dave's, give them a call, order them online. Also, Angelo Bolt, if you need any fasteners or any kind of fittings or anything like that, Angelo Bolt and Industrial Supply is your place to go. Another one we got is Edward Jones. Edward Jones is someone who will make financial decisions for you for your future. They want to make you money as much as you can. Also, Thiemann Investments, another a name to bet your money on. These two people will put your money where their mouth is, and they will make it happen for you. So make sure you do all that. But mostly, we want to just go ahead and say thank you to those guys for making everything happen for us. All right, moving on. We had a good one tonight. It was the Grape Creek Eagles versus the Christoval Cougars. We had a few, people talking here, people talking there, but inevitably, here's what happened. We showed you this earlier. Here's the Grape Creek Eagles coming out for their first possession. They're ready for a little Cougar football. The Cougars are going to be playing up in this one, but they don't really care. They were ready to bring on the action. All right, here we go. Both sides ready here. We showed you a little bit of these highlights earlier. Here we go. Go to a spread front here. This was right when that rain cut up, so they're thinking pass, but he doesn't care. He's going to keep it and go, but this is going to be a play that they're going to regret. Their starting quarterback for the Christoval Cougars goes down. He is out for the rest of the game. Coach Otho is on an interview later with us, and he will tell you exactly what happened on that play, and he will tell you exactly the condition of his player. All right. Here's the very first touchdown of the game. It's just a run to the right, and that's going to be a touchdown. Now, remember, we said that their quarterback went out, but it wouldn't matter. Their quarterback would get the 2-point possession later. Coming on later, this is a Grape Creek Eagle touchdown that would get it a little closer, but nonetheless, the Grape Creek Eagles would fall to the Christoval Cougars in this one. James, I know you're a Christoval alumni. You always rock with the red and white, so go ahead and tell me what you liked from this game tonight.
I like seeing the Cougar offense open up a little bit more. You know, if you looked at the stat line last week, they didn't really try things downfield. They didn't really try running it outside. They tried running it down the middle. This week, you saw them run around the outside. You saw him throw the ball downfield. Caden Carpenter had a big catch for about a 50-yard touchdown. And you saw him run around the edge. I do hope Kyle Lohman is okay. They seem to think, maybe he will be. We'll hear from Coach Otho on that. And, their backup quarterback really came in and played well for them. So I know they're happy about that. And it's hard to rally when you see your quarterback go down. You got to rally around somebody new, and maybe you don't have as much chemistry with them. But they seem to do just fine. And I was happy to see the Cougars really step out, and they had some young guys on that back end of this defense, and that they stopped that single T offense that Grape Creek has, and they did good. Definitely so. Okay, well, let's go ahead and just roll this clip with Coach Otho.
On the win. How does it feel bringing home the first win of the season for the Cougars?
It's a weight off the chest right there kind of deal. Got a lot of young players, new players. This is nothing but confidence for them.
Thanks. With an early injury on your quarterback, your team still managed to fight through and get that win. Any updates on the leg? Any kind of insight you can give us?
I think he's going to be fine. He's going to go get it checked out tomorrow, but everything seems to be in good shape.
All righty. Thank you.
All right, there you go. Kyle Lohman's injury does not seem to be that severe as of now. We will find out later, I guess. They said that he's going to go get it checked out, so don't worry, parents out there. We're going to make sure that everybody's kids are okay. But at the same time, that's a tough quarterback out there who likes to run the rock and make it happen. Chadwick, what's something that you've seen when you get these running quarterbacks when they get injured? Tell me, I guess how tough it is. You're a linebacker. You've hit a couple of them. How tough is it to be a quarterback?
Well, first off, I was a running back, Matt.
Oh, well, I thought you played a little linebacker. My fault.
Have you seen how tall I am?
Well, I was just seeing how stocky you were. You'd be perfect on the left side, I'm telling you.
What happens when you miss the block?
Okay, yeah, exactly. So whenever a running quarterback gets hurt, your biggest concern is how gun-shy he's going to be coming back from that kind of injury. So hopefully from what we see from this young man is him not be afraid to still try and tuck the ball and just go, right? So, it takes a lot of confidence when you're playing the quarterback position as it is. And so if he gets a little gun-shy, maybe Otho needs to change up the offense a little bit, try to set up him some boot action or some play action, bootleg him out, give him some easy throws to get him comfortable in the game first, and then he can start tucking and running it again.
James, that's your team. I mean, You rode with them last week when they lost. You rode with them this week when you won. You know, I chose the Eagle both weeks. I'm 1-1, so I can't say anything. But you know, when you hear that Christoval name and it's, you know, things are rocking and things are rolling, they're beating bigger teams. Like what is that? You're from that community. What does that mean to the community out there? Like whenever that stuff's rocking, you know, how does like Christoval, I guess, return that favor?
You know, Otho's always going to have his team prepared, and he said earlier in the week he's not going to let a loss beat them twice. He has mature kids out there who are really going to just overcome things that come their way. You know, they're going to handle this. They handle the loss well, and they're going to handle this win well, and you know they're going to be happy they won. But they do have a game next week that they have to get ready for, and Otho's going to have his kids prepared for it. And you know, as for Coach Teal, you know, we'll have to go back and look at some of the film, but. They came up short in this game too. You're 0-2, but it's still early in the season. You can come out of this, you know, you still have young, inexperienced guys out there on the field. You know, they can still gel together as the season goes on. It is just week 2. You know, you can still come out of this, and district's right around the corner, and you got hot last year, district.
I don't think we went ahead and mentioned it. Do we have what is the final score of that game?
Of the Christoval Grape game?
Yes.
30 to 10 Christoval.
All right, so 30-10 Christoval. Okay, so that's Bobcat win. We got a Christoval win. Let's keep it rocking. This one right here we showed you highlights of, but this one is one that you do not want to miss. This one was high intensity, high volume, and it didn't end until the very last second. So this right here is the third to last possession right here. The Miles Bulldogs hand it off, or pass it right there to their running back. He takes a trip out to the right, and he goes and scores. That is a 40-yard touchdown that's going to extend this lead to 32-21. Next drive, Sterling City is looking to go make it happen. Tries to throw the deep ball. Here it is, but guess what? Ooh, Oski, he's going to take it all the way in. What a change. The Sterling City Eagles were winning all game. Now they're down big time, and here is the final nail in the coffin after that interception. Here it is, long ball to the corner, touchdown, and the Miles Bulldogs pull it off 40-21 after trailing all night long. Boys, what do we think about that one?
That's super surprising to me. I picked Sterling City.
I did too. I know. It's like, what the heck?
I picked Miles.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right. Well, then, as someone who picked Miles, what did you see from Miles before, you know, coming into this game that made you throw that way, James?
You know, it was really what I saw last year from Miles. You know, I know last year it was Christoval, El Dorado beating up on their entire district, but Miles really had some decent players for him, and they did squeeze into the playoffs, and I think in that third spot. And I know they returned their quarterback. I know they think they have something special in that quarterback. They returned some offensive line, returned a running back. Sterling City had moved up from 6-man to 11-man. And you know, Trey Cisco, said, he's still teaching his kids 11-man. They've reacted really well to it. They won last week, and they were winning in this game. And that's that 11-man, that 6-man mentality of giving up. If you miss a tackle, you're giving up a touchdown. That's a good thing to have. But it just seemed like the Miles kids, pulled off the comeback very well and came out with the win.
That they do. I mean, they're a team that's experienced in 11-man football. But before we get more into it, let's go ahead and hear from the head coach of the Miles Bulldogs.
To go 1-0, but they got 2 of them back to back. We're 2-0. Of course.
All right. So to start off, how does your victory feel? How does it feel to go 2-0 now?
It feels good. Like I say, that's our goal every week to go 1-0. But they got 2 of them back to back. We're 2-0. Of course. That's what I told the guys. I said something about the way this game played out. Something about the way we competed after being down 2 touchdowns at halftime. I think I prefer that to watch our kids fight the way they did and not fold. That speaks volumes for us. This is a special group of young men. But I don't know. I mean, and this has anything to do about Sterling City. But if we come out and played somebody and beat them 56-0, well, that's fun. And you sell it. Oh yeah. But we needed this. We needed to win exactly like this.
Of course,
so
of course. Glad to hear it. So, how do you think your quarterback has improved coming from last year to this year?
Immensely. Yeah, Coach Mejia works with him, does a good job with him, and I think there's things he sees things now. He goes through his progressions, and and he's still learning, and we're gonna have him for another year after this. But he makes us better in practice too, because he runs our scout offense. And then there's times we're in great coverage. We're like, well, what do you do, man? The kid's dang good.
Of course.
I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. He's a dang good football player.
All right, and do you have any comments for your future opponents coming up?
No, not a lot. Like I say, we're gonna celebrate this one tonight, get to work on them tomorrow. But Water Valley will be the same way. They got a lot of good athletes, and anytime you put good athletes on the field, you got a chance to be successful. But I tip my hat to Sterling City, and I expect the same thing out of Water Valley.
Of course. And any closing comments? Anything?
No, I think the biggest thing for us is the way we won tonight is going to build our confidence. That's a program builder. We've been talking about culture and those kinds of things, and it's taken a little bit since I've been here, but this is the group. They're special, and we're excited about it.
All righty.
All right, that was the coach of the Miles Bulldogs. They're 2-0 now. What a tough team. He said, I'm trying to bring a little grit, and that's what I've been trying to do since I got here, and now the Miles Bulldogs are 2-0. Guys, I'm not from here, and I've only been here since about 2019 covering the sports. Since that time, the Miles Bulldogs, I don't think have ever been 2-0. I think they have had mediocre season after mediocre season. Is this finally the year that they are going to break out in the new generation of everything about Texas high school football over here?
I know that they're real high on their quarterback. I know Jason Wilhelm, their head coach, he thinks he's got a really special talent there in his quarterback. He's a junior this year. He's got an offensive lineman. You turn some seniors up there. He's got some senior running backs protecting him. And I think he's real excited about what they can potentially be. They realigned this year. They're not in the same district they were last year. They're out of that Christoval, Otho,
They're maybe in more of a spot where they can kind of make things happen, right? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get to. They can do good things this year. They went to the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
And this year I expect them to go right back, and I expect them to maybe win a game this year, and I expect them to be a good team. Wilhelm's got them on the right track.
Hey, Chadwick, this Sterling City Eagle team, they've played six-man for a while. They won state not too long ago in that six-man division. Jumping up to 11-man, I know you played 6A, so that's way far from 6-man. But what do you think that transition's like?
I mean, it's got to be kind of a shocker because especially for the guys that are playing now, like they weren't there on that state championship team, and if they were, then there might be 2 or 3 seniors left, right? So if this is their first experience with 11-man, then this has got to be a little bit of an eye opener. Right? They won last week, and, it's just more of the same. They're not used to losing. It's a program that's used to continual success. So, if anything, this is a punch in the mouth to these guys. It's not one that they should take lightly, and I don't think it's one that they're going to take lying down. Because, again, this is a winning program. They're used to winning. I expect them to bounce up, pick themselves off the dirt, dust themselves off, and be like, okay, 11-man football, let's go.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they did last week. They put it on that Midland, or no, they had TLCA Abilene, right? Mm-hmm. But either way, they put it on them pretty good. Of course, they dropped this one. This is a Miles team that's been playing 11-man for a little bit, so I mean, it is what it is. But we kind of were talking about this. See if you like my theory here. They were up by big last week, and I was saying, maybe if you're a 6-man team, you don't have that same off switch that 11-man teams have to stop scoring. Because if you've played for a high-scoring team, we've already scored 70. We could just turn the gas off a little bit. But I don't know if these 6-man teams may have that.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that's exactly what happens. I also went to school, Texas Tech, right? Home of the air raid offense. And that's usually how those Big 12 games go, right? And sometimes that bites Texas Tech in the butt, too. They just get up by big.
That stuff that the Bobcats were in tonight.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah, you get up big, and then that off switch happens, and then you're like, oh, wait, I can't do this. I have to turn it back on. You know what I mean? And so if you're used to winning and basically the equivalent of run ruling a team, and where the teams get forfeited by halftime and whatnot, it's a different game in 11-man. There is no forfeit rules. There are no ties. You know what I mean? So
there's no turning the game off if you're beating too bad.
Trey Cisco was actually hired there as an 11-man coach, so he learned 6-man on the fly.
Oh, okay.
So now they're back doing 11-man.
That's
he's
why,
doing
yeah.
what he knows
Yeah.
at least.
You
But
have a
those
good-
kids don't.
Right? I'm not too worried about Sterling City. Like I think they'll be fine.
Yeah,
Yeah, their coach.
definitely.
They have a good enough coach.
Yeah,
where they
if
can,
anything, I guess Water Valley would probably be the smaller one of those two, probably,
Oh, yeah,
or
for
like
sure.
the ones with the lesser like pool of kids, I guess. So I guess those would be like the more one you'd worry about. I don't know. Them in Erie
I
County.
think Water Valley's gonna be. I think they have a good coach too.
Oh yeah, they do.
They're gonna
All
be
right,
good, too.
guys, are we ready to get into some scores?
Let's do it, man.
All right, but before we get there, remember our scores are brought to you by Edward Jones. They are making sense in investing. Don't forget to call David Wolfen. He's a financial advisor. You can see him at 4102 South Jackson Street, or you can call him at 325-249-0082. Remember, he's a member of the SIPC. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. All right, moving to our scores. James, take it away.
All right, you got Big Spring over Lubbock, 51-26. You got Ira Ann over Center Point, 26-23. You got Sydney over Rising Star, 50-44. You got Odessa Permian over Waco Midway, 34-20.
It ended up looking like a better game than what we ended up starting with. They had a little bit of a delay at the beginning, and then we may have some scores, or we have some highlights up on the page later. But because of this delays, our correspondent got a little sideways on
And that one also shocked me. I actually picked Midway in that one.
I did too, Chadwick.
I picked
We
Permian
sucked
in that
this
one.
week. We don't need to get that started on James because he
5-0.
has a big head. All right.
All right,
Sabinal Harper, 41-14. Sabinal takes that one. Here we go. Rule and Bronx. We were watching this all night long. Look, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Who's the loser? Bronx Longhorns. Rule 43-40. Johnson City versus Thrall, 43-14, Johnson City. Forsan versus Post, 41-15, Forsan. Early and Tolar played tonight, 51-14 was the final score with Tolar winning. Midland Bulldogs and Coronado of Lubbock, they're tied, 21-21. We'll check in on that one here in a little bit. Junction San Saba, 19-6 San Saba. McCamey and Reagan County, 26-14 McCamey. El Dorado and Winners, they also had a late start. After our halftime show, they actually started after that. So, I mean, they may not get done until 12 o'clock tonight. It was 12:12 when last time we looked. It may change later. Stay on our San Joe Live page for more on that. Kahoma, Sonora, 31-27. The Broncos lose that one. Dublin and Albany, 55-14. Water Valley and Hamlin, 6-2. 6-2. This was one of those 6-man schools that turned to an 11-man. James, what do you think about that score?
I think Water Valley's going to be fine. I think last week, didn't they play Abilene TLCA? I think they were they're kind of new to the football program, and they just blew them out. They're going to be okay, I think. I think this might have been a good test for them, but it seems like something affected that game where you had a safety.
6-2. Very
yeah,
weird.
that's kind of a weird score. All right, Brownwood over Marble Falls, 55-16. You got Rankin over Buena Vista, 58-8. You got Wink over Ozona, 51-32. Them kids up there in Wink know how to play football. You got Miles over Sterling City, 40-21. Lubbock Cooper and Woolforth Friendship.
That's a close one right
Friendship
there.
over Cooper,
Yeah,
36-33.
That's Central's district right there, 36-33. And that's a good Lubbock Cooper team, so be on the watch out for that one.
All right, Robert Lee over Sands, 36-28. You got Dumas over Estacado. Dumas? Okay.
The Dumas
some-
Devils.
Put some respect on the Doom.
That's
I
right.
apologize.
Some people call it another name if you're their rival, Doom S. You know what I'm saying?
I apologize.
Estacado, 34-7, lost that one. Sweetwater Lakeview, we're keeping our eye on this one. The boys in blue are up by 2, 27-25. James, if you can just do a little quick research, make sure that one's up to date so we get them right. But right now, Lakeview is winning 27-25.
The final there, according to Dave Campbell's Texas Football, Lakeview 39, Sweetwater 25.
All
that
right,
game
so we got a victory for our Lakeview Chiefs.
Okay, boys
All right.
in blue, 2-0.
That's right, 2-0. Probably
Mason.
first time in a while. 27-7, Mason's winning that one. Monday, Abilene TLCA 58-30 Monday. And Tascosa, man. Look at this one, Chadwick. Midland Legacy 27, Amarillo Tascosa 48. Yeah, I think there's some trouble in the Little Southwest Conference because Midland Tascosa putting it on them. All right, San Angelo Central, El Paso Montwood, 52-49. This is not a basketball score. We showed you the highlights, 52-49, San Angelo Central. Coleman versus Ballinger. Wow, Coleman is that dude right now. 48-0, Coleman wins that one. Monahans and Andrews, 59-29, Andrews. And that right there is going to wrap up our scores. Remember, those are brought to you by Edward Jones. If you need to talk to Edward Jones, go ahead and talk to David Woofin. He's at 4102 South Jackson, or you can give him a call at 325-249-0082. Remember, Edward Jones, making sense of investing. They are a member of the SIPC. So go ahead, if you want to make some money, talk to Edward Jones. They will make sure to make it happen. Guys, what was the most surprising score on there for y'all?
I don't know if you can tell from my face still. I did not expect Legacy to drop that one. I know Tascosa is a good football team. They have been for the last couple of years.
Yep.
But, I mean, Legacy is the team from Little Southwest Conference who has been our representative in the playoffs the last couple of years, right?
Well, everyone's been talking about that quarterback, that this guy's legit.
Yeah,
They're
that
talking about
he's
him
the
getting
guy.
stars
Right?
and all kinds of stuff. So
I honestly, again, very surprised. I wish y'all could have seen my face as soon as that score came up. But I know those guys. They're still a great football team. I still have some coaches on that were my coaches on that staff. They will be fine, but that is a shocker to me. And hey, Central and Legacy got the same record right now, so
that's right, 1-1, baby. All right, so. James, what about you? What was the surprising score from that thing for you?
Well, we got a final in the Midland-Lubbock Coronado game. Midland 27, Lubbock Coronado 21. So Midland's 2-0 on the season. They beat Montwood last week.
Tied with Permian for the leader of the Little Southwest Conference.
Yeah, the Cisco Lobos in the Wall game, that kind of surprised me. I did pick Cisco to win, but they ended up beating the Wall 18-14. I really like to see that. I'd like to see some ground and pound out there. That's probably what they did out there. That was probably one of my games.
Tough loss for Wall too.
That is a tough
one
for
a rival.
But you know what?
Yeah.
Like
Cisco's a good team.
That's a good team,
Yeah.
and that's their first test of the year. Coach Guy always likes to test them early, so that way when they get in those big matchups later on, they're going to be okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Last year he tested them with Shiner and
Yeah.
Right. Dude, you remember those two boys that they had?
Yes.
the Brooks brothers.
The Brooks brothers were bad dudes, man. All right. So this is when I go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and let you guys do it. I'm going to start with you, Chadwick. I need your final thoughts of the night. We got all the highlights. We got all the scores. We did all the analysts that we could do. All we got to do is give them our final thoughts of the night. Chadwick, what do you think?
I mean, of course, my hat's off to the Bobcats, specifically Tyler Hill and his performance that he had tonight. Very efficient in the passing game, over 200 yards on the ground, multiple touchdowns, was a real leader, and I actually got an interview with him after the game.
I'm here with Tyler Hill after the Bobcats' big win tonight. How are you feeling so far?
It feels good. Second game of the season, first home game, coming out with the win, so first win of the season. It's always a great feeling at home, opening home with a big win. Again, it just feels great to have a first win here. So,
Seems like the offense was firing on all cylinders tonight. Efficient in the passing game, ground and pound, real hard on the ground. You know, Bobcats had over 300 yards rushing tonight. That's got to be awesome, right?
absolutely. I think with the rain and with the wet, we didn't pass as much as we'd like to. But we knew going in that our run game would be just as good, and so that's what we did. We ran it every play. We ran great every play. Our O-line did amazing, opened up holes for all of us. And overall, just as a team and as an offense, I think we ran the ball great and we pursued it really well. So.
Last question here. What was going through your mind when you saw that snap go over your head?
It was a little scary. It was something that, I told myself before the game that, I didn't want to get any turnovers. So I knew there was a chance of, it bouncing the wrong way and me not catching it. This possibly be a turnover. However, I did get a chance to catch it and use my speed to get around him and finally get it off to Jacob. But overall, when it first came over my head, it was a little scary, but, I had control over it. Stuff calmed down, and I saw the pass and I took it. So.
All right, Tyler, a heck of a win. Looking forward to watching y'all next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And exactly what I said. It was a heck of a win tonight. I'm super proud of the Bobcats overall. Kevin Crane, head coach Kevin Crane, he always has those boys ready to play. I'd like to see a little bit more oomph on the defensive side of the ball. They got the job done when it was most important. They had a couple takeaways tonight. Special teams played great. They had that block punt that they took, for a touchdown that, if they didn't have that touchdown, they lose that game. So overall, super pleased with the Bobcats. I'm y'all's biggest fan, alumni. I played for those guys. But yeah, next week against Cooper, let's see the defense, show out just a little bit more. Let's try to keep the yards allowed a little bit, further down. And as far as Tyler Hill and the rest of running backs, get some rest this weekend, boys. Y'all earned it.
All right, that was Chadwick's thought of the night. Mine was going to go a little bit more smaller than his. You know, he likes to stick with those big 6As. Me, I'm going to go ahead and rewind. We'll do a little rewind to last week when I went ahead and I shouted out the El Dorado Eagles when they won that big game against Christoval. Now, the defensive coordinator from El Dorado made sure that I was well taken care of, but because of that, he went ahead and dropped this off this week. This is a decal from the El Dorado Eagles just to show, you know, the love that I've shown them, and I'm going to keep on rocking with them. Tonight, they got the winners, Blizzards. The winners are Blizzards are 0-1. El Dorado's 1-0. This game got rain delayed, so there was a little bit of time where nothing is happening, but right now, they're getting at it, and they're busting, but right now, it was 13-13 last time we looked, but El Dorado is at home, so I'm looking for them to get another win. That's my final thought. James?
First off, congratulations to Lakeview on their win tonight. You know, 49-25?
39.
39-25. All right. Congratulations. And I'm going to my hometown, Christoval. You know, it was good to see them, you know, put that loss behind them from last week and move on to this week. And, you know, I really didn't know how well they were going to be able to contain that Eagle offense with the young linebackers back there, but they did a good job, even with your starting quarterback going down. You know, we're going to see how long he's out. I wish I could have seen him throw it a little bit more down the field, but their backup looked good. The receivers look good, and congratulations. That's, you know, let's move on to next week.
All right, guys, that is just another edition of Cover 1. We've done your pregame show. We've done a halftime show. We've done your postgame show. We've given you your scores, your highlights. We've given you our thoughts and our feelings and how everything went. We also gave you our final thoughts, and we gave you some picks. Now, James, we did all these picks, right? I'll let you go ahead and announce it. Who was the winner of the picks tonight?
Me.
Oh,
Not me.
5-0.
Not me either.
It was
not
James, how many did you have? And tell me who won.
5-0. You had Central win. You had Permian win. You had Christoval win. Cisco won. And Miles won.
There we go. So if you're looking for a 5-man parlay, go up and hit your man Bellini up. He knows where it is. We appreciate you guys listening. We appreciate you guys tuning in all night long. Remember, this is Cover 1 Live. You can check us out Fridays at 4 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Now, those might be tentative, of course, when it's a little raining, but I promise you, we're going to be here. Remember, this is brought to you by the Autoplex. If you need to do something this weekend, it's buy a new car. Go down there to the Autoplex. They're having a huge Labor Day sale, and I promise you, you won't regret it. Other things is Angelo Bolt, Double Dave's, Edward Jones, and Thiemann Investments. All these people want to bring all of this together to have, so you can have the best Friday nights that you possibly can. I really appreciate you watching. I know everyone else here at San Angelo Live does. So until next week, thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.